Two things that I'm challenged by. I'm having a very difficult time raising money. I'm not asking for a handout. All I'm asking is loan me the money. I'll account for it, every dollar, I'll pay it back. Secondly, and I'm willing to risk millions, 99% of my net worth. The second thing is that GE has a patent and I believe in patents. I listened to this gentleman back here, and I can truly appreciate what he's going through. But in this instance, GE inherited this patent from Enron. And it's created a wall so that they won't let people come in and build turbines in the United States. Now, the patent is going to expire very soon. But now they're calling it a royalty, but it's really a gate to keep people out. Is there any programs? I've talked to Governor Strickland. I've talked to Sherrod Brown, I've talked to Lee Fisher. This company was identified by the city of Akron and Donald Plusquelic's visionary leadership down in Akron. But I want to bring this to the United States. I want to bring these jobs, and this not about money for me. This is about creating jobs. I can feel for that gentleman that wants to work. He should have a right to work. God bless him. President Obama, let me respond first of all. Question, is there any federal programs that can help me? I just want to borrow the money to create this factory and create these jobs. President Obama, well, obviously I don't know about the particular situation, so I'll just speak generally to it. and if you want to get one of my team your card, then maybe they can follow up with you. But one of the things that we've done, or one of the things that we've seen coming out of the financial crisis is that banks are still not lending to small businesses enough. The mayor and I talked about this. The business owners that I talked to will confirm this. And if you ask the banks why, they'll say, well, it's a combination of, in some cases. Demand really is down, businesses don't have as many customers as they used to, so revenues are down, and so they don't want to lend. That's some cases. But in some cases what you've got is very profitable businesses that are ready to go, ready to invest. Got a proven track record. The banks feel as if regulators are looking over their shoulder and discouraging them from lending. So what I've said to Treasury Secretary Gaithner and others is we can't meddle with independent regulators. Their job is to stay apart from politics and make sure the banking system is sound, but there should be a discussion about whether or not we have seen the pendulum swing too far, where it used to be they just lend anybody anything. Then they lost all this money and now they won't lend people with good credit anything. That is not good for the economy. So what we've tried to do is to fill some of these gaps in the meantime. For example, our small business lending through the SBA has actually gone up 70%. And we've been waiving fees, increasing guarantees. And what we're trying to do is streamline the process for SBA loans, because right now there's just too much paperwork. It's typical government not having caught up with the 21st century. And you can't have a £50 application form. People just after a while, it's not worth it, in some cases. So we're trying to do all those things. Now, with respect to patents, again, I don't know the particular situation. I will say this. It's important that we protect internationally intellectual property. It is also important though that we have a patent system that encourages innovation but doesn't. Just lock in big monopolies that prevent new people from bringing new products into the system? The worst offender of this problem is actually the drug companies. Because they will try to lock in their patents for as long as they can to prevent generics from coming onto the market. And that costs customers billions of dollars. And sometimes the drug company will redesign it so it's a caplet instead of a pill. And then try to get a new patent, to get another 7 or 9 or 10 years of coverage. That is something that we've got to change. I don't know whether that applies to your particular situation. But we have to have a patent system that doesn't prevent competition. We want a patent system that encourages innovation. Now, I'm out of time, but I want to say one last thing. First of all, because there's been so much attention focused on this healthcare issue this week. I just want to emphasize not the myths but the reality of what is trying to that both. The House and the Senate bill were trying to accomplish, because it's actually very simple. There are a bunch of provisions in it, but it's pretty simple. Number 1, for those of you who have health insurance. We are trying to get in place reforms that make sure you are getting your money's worth for the insurance that you pay for. That means, for example, that they can't impose a lifetime cap where if you really get sick and suddenly there's some fine print in there that says you're not completely covered. We're trying to make sure that there is a cap on out-of-pocket expenses so that you don't find out. When you read the fine print, that you've got to pay a huge amount that you thought you were covered for. We're trying to make sure that if you've got a pre-existing condition, you can actually still get health insurance. Because a lot of people have been banned from getting health insurance because of a pre-existing condition. One of the reforms we want is to make sure that your 26 or 27-year-old could up until that age, could stay on your insurance, so that once they get out of high school and college, they can stay on their parents' insurance for a few years until they've got a more stable job. So you've got all these insurance reforms that we're trying to get passed. Now, some people ask, well, why don't you just pass that and forget everything? Else. Here's the problem. Let's just take the example of pre-existing conditions. We can't prohibit insurance companies from preventing people with pre-existing conditions getting insurance unless everybody essentially has insurance. And the reason for that is otherwise what would happen is people would just wouldn't get. insurance until they were sick, and then they'd go and buy insurance and they couldn't be prohibited. And that would drive everybody else's premiums up. So a lot of these insurance reforms are connected to some other things. We have to do to make sure that everybody has some access to coverage. All right. So the second thing we've been trying to do is to make sure that we're setting up an exchange. Which is just a big pool so that people who are individuals, who are self-employed, who are small business owners, they can essentially join a big pool of millions of people all across the country. Which means that when you go to negotiate with your insurance company, you've got the purchasing power of a Ford or a GM or Walmart or a Xerox or the federal employees. That's why federal employees have good insurance, and county employees and state employees have good insurance. In part is because they're part of this big pool. And our attitude is, can we make sure that everybody is part of a big pool to drive down costs? That's the second thing we're trying to do. Third thing we're trying to do is to try to reduce costs overall, because the system, how many of you go into the doctor's office, you fill out a form, you get a checkup. You go fill out another form, somebody else asks you for the form you just filled out. Then the doctor fills out a form, you got to take it to the pharmacist. The pharmacist can't read the doctors. This is the only industry in the country that still does that. That still operates on paper systems, that still orders all kinds of unnecessary tests. Because a lot of times, I walk in the doctor, I just do what I'm told, I don't know what he's doing. I don't know whether this test was necessary or whether we could have had the test that I took 6 months. Ago emailed to the doctor so I wouldn't have to take another test and pay for another test. Right? So there are all these methods of trying to reduce costs. And that's what we've been trying to institute. Now, I just want to say, as I said in my opening remarks, the process has been less than pretty. When you deal with 535 members of Congress, it's going to be a somewhat ugly process, not necessarily. Because any individual member of Congress is trying to do something wrong, it's just they may have different ideas. They have different interests, they've got a particular issue of a hospital in their district. That they want to see if they can kind of get dealt with, and this may be the best vehicle for doing it. They're looking out for their constituents a lot of times. But when you put it all together, it starts looking like just this monstrosity. And it makes people fearful. And it makes people afraid. And they start thinking, you know what? This looks like something that is going to cost me tax dollars, and I already have insurance, so why should I support this? So I just want to be clear that there are things that have to get done. This is our best chance to do it. We can't keep on putting this off. Even if you've got health insurance right now. Look at what's happening with your premiums and look at the trend. It is going to gobble up more and more of your paycheck. Ask a chunk of you folks in here who have seen your employers say you've got to. Pick up more of your payments in terms of higher deductibles or higher co-payments. Some of you, your employers just said, we can't afford health insurance at all. That's going to happen to more and more people.